Ah, yes. Our first player in the bottom. What side is this? Right. He is the red Zerg player from Shopify Rebellion. It is Lambo.
And his opponent spawning down in the bottom left position, representing Litecoin Gaming. It is Hellraiser. Looking to raise a little hell.
I like the logo. I'm a big logo guy. Simple and pause.
Strong start.
I hear something really weird next to my main. What?
That is that is the most bizarre comment I think I've ever seen, and I love it. Oh, that's actually so fantastic.
This is the weirdest scenario. Like, I've never had a pause for this reason, as one guy can randomly hear a mine burrowing, or what sounds like a mine burrowing constantly. I don't think Lambo will need to worry too much about mines burrowing next to his base in this PvZ, but of course these players want to play in optimal conditions. We did say coming into this that this is must win, like 900%, a billion times must win. So we are going to get back into it as soon as Lambo can sort his stuff out. They are just talking now and figuring it out. Okay, he's saying let's just go, so I believe we're going to get back in. Don't mind drop me, please.
Oh, God.
This is weird already.
Oh.
Okay, we're going.
Game resumed.
All right.
We're in. Oh,
We're in.
jeez. Okay, talk me through what you expect here from both point of views. If this was your run-of-the-mill standard, you know, going to the store for cigarettes game, that doesn't make sense. What to see here?
Well, I think right out of the gate, actually, wow, we're seeing something very interesting from Hellraiser. It's going to be a Nexus first to start things off immediately, which is very bold and a great way to start against a player who you know is probably going to be confident against you and is therefore more likely to play standard.
And in terms of scouting,
yeah,
Lambo's not done any, so this is going to end up working pretty nicely here for the Ukrainian Protoss player. He gets that Nexus first off. It also means just generally his tech's going to be at still a decent time. He's going to have an amazing economy. If there is a Queen Walk, he can afford a few more batteries. He can afford a couple more Zealots and things. So I like this from Hellraiser. It's ballsy, it's brave, but Lambo I don't think in a beginning of a best of 3 is ever likely to like properly cheese. And to throw in a 12 pool, I don't feel like that's Lambo's style. He'll want to feel his opponent out. He's a very methodical, traditional Zerg player in that sense. He's I'd say a mid or a late game Zerg player more than early. So cool start here from Lambo, from Hellraiser even. Lambo playing very normal, getting his 4 lings and his 2 queens before his third base. We're not going to see any really funky like 155 thirds. And Hellraiser going to see everything that's going on. Finally, Lambo gets that scout in, steadfast, and he'll be a little bit frustrated, probably just going to power... He's actually going to make a few more lings, which is... No, he just made the 4, right? Yeah, okay. So he's just going to power drones out as kind of anticipated here, and everything will be standard. Very quick Zealot here from Hellraiser.
Yeah, just playing a little bit on the safer side. Wants to make sure those lings don't get in, don't get a free scout. And yeah, it's also interesting to note on the topic of greed and playing safe. We actually saw Lambo with a patrolling drone on the top of the ramp, so he's actually expecting that Hellraiser might have gone for a cannon rush to try and 3 pylon wall the top. So even losing a little bit of mining time, going for the patrol at the very top of that main ramp, and you know that's very nice. Wow, look at this! We see a very quick forge coming down out of Hellraiser. So this is going to be for an extremely fast +1 and potentially even a super fast +2. After this Stargate. That's really interesting.
Stargate finishing off here is kind of all pretty normal, getting that Stargate very, very early, of course. First Void Ray going to come out here. We're not going to see an Oracle or anything. I feel like Hellraiser is setting up like amazingly defensively or aggressively. This doesn't feel very middle ground to me. Like he's either going to go for a huge timing off a +1 with a few Void Rays. He's even getting +1 air weapons. Okay. Yeah, he's gonna hit pretty hard, I think. Meanwhile, we see speed coming in here from Lambo. Lambo doing everything pretty normal. He's going up to 5 queens. I'd be very curious to see if he does go up to 7 or 8. No Forge upgrade started yet. Oh my god.
All right, here we go. I think this is going to be 2-base carrier. He got those gases at the natural so fast. And this is not a Tempest Rush map. No. And this is not Max Packs either, but this is a very Max Packs adjacent build. This is this is some shenanigans coming down, and if we see Lambo go for a Queen Walk build, that is the kind of thing that can, against carrier rushes,
it punishes it, right?
Well, it depends how quickly the queens get across the map and how far they get. Because if the carriers have the chance to fight once, lose all their interceptors, but basically drain all the transfuse energy, and then go home and regain all that energy, then things look very good for the Protoss. But if the carriers are forced to fight for the first time at their base, you're probably losing your third base.
Yeah. So Lambo does get in, he sees what he needs to see, he gets the information that this is 2-base carrier, 2 carriers on the way, one of them already halfway done. Lambo immediately started off his lair and just fired out more queens and a lot of drones, getting an Evo chamber as well at the other side of the map. But it was identified late, like really late. When the first carrier is already halfway done, you really do want to have this information. Any Queen Walk builds at this point would be very risky. They'd want to be already on their way, I'd say. You can see the creep is okay, but they're nowhere near getting to the third. There'll be 3 or 4 carriers by the time Queens get out, and with shield batteries, that's never gonna work out. So Lambo's gonna have to play this more into the mid game, I think. +1 air weapons is gonna complete right now, Steadfast. Carrier number 2 and 3 getting closer and closer as the first one has now. The first 2, sorry, have hit the field. And I mean, this is scary right now. Lambo's going to have to defend his heart out.
Yeah, that fast +1 is going to make this first push across the map very, very powerful. I expect we'll see Lambo build... he's only got 2 spores at the moment, but I expect we'll see him build a few more than that. You want those to be the things that are actually soaking the damage from those carriers because they have that armor. The queens are... And that's huge. 1 armor is actually massive against this. Look at the speed of that +2 air weapons, by the way. That started up at like the 6-minute mark.
Yeah, it's
that
insane.
Is so damn fast.
I mean, Spire on the way, but it's only 25% done, and we're already at, what, 2 carriers, very soon to be 4 carriers. They're popping out now. They're going to have a lot of interceptors already. This Spire, there's a good chance that it could even be cancelled if it is found early. The Queen's going to start trying to fight this, and there's a good amount of Queens here with a lot of transfused energy, but they're getting drained, and already we can see drones going to go down here. 3 have fallen, a big pull force, Overlord's going down. Hellraiser has complete control of the map. He has complete control over the situation right now. He's getting Flux Veins, my favorite upgrade in the game. He's getting a bunch of Void Rays, and I'm really scared because right now, although the interceptors have been taken out, like, Lambo just has no control over the map. Okay, he's going to move out with some lings.
Yeah, this is pretty nice. He might be able to get a cancel on that. Honestly, kind of greedy fourth base gold. This is... So the thing about going 2 carriers is you get into that Void Ray production very, very quickly. You can deal with a Corruptor counter quite easily. But going 4 carriers, your Void Ray count is going to be a little bit lower. But that being said, we do see triple Stargate. That 3rd Stargate has been added on, and that Flux Veins, he did not hesitate on that upgrade. So this is going to be potentially a very, very tight breaking point as to whether or not Lambo can break through. And I think he's going to pull the Queens with this. And if we see a Corruptor Queen push, that could be some real power. Oh, and he's adding on Ravagers. Okay, I love this. He's going to be able to Corrosive Bile the Void Rays and make sure they cannot have their Prismatic alignment online, or they're going to eat Corrosive Biles.
Yeah, and the Void Ray count is at 6 right now. There's 3 more carriers on the way. I'm not sure I like that idea here, Steadfast. I think more Void Rays would have been really, really important because these carriers, they take so long to build, and then they come out not at full power because they won't have all their interceptors. If they can get out, if batteries can hold the line, hold the door here for Hellraiser, it'll be looking okay, but I am very, very, very nervous as to whether this can be held. There's so many Queens here. We're looking at 15 Queens coming out from Lambo. He has those Ravagers, as you said, Corruptors in the sky. Upgrades, I mean, incredible here for our Protoss air army. But now here we go, the cannon in the front going to take the first brunt of damage. A lot of Micro going to need to come out here. This is a lot of Void Rays and a lot of Interceptors, but now here come those Corruptors.
Yeah, there's just so many corruptors right now, and like you said, going for those extra carriers may be his undoing right here. There is still these static defenses, and I don't think battery overcharge has been popped just yet. Cannon does get taken down by the corrosive biles. Corrosive biles will land in on those carriers, and they're doing a good job of kind of zoning out this high toss army. Ooh, even clipped a void ray right there. Nice job, and Lambo playing this out very patiently.
There's just no interceptors left. You can see most of them, there's a couple that have like nearly full. Most of them only have half, and when you have this amount of queens, they actually take out interceptors so quickly. And now looking at the supply, you can see Hellraiser getting in pretty badly supply blocked. A lot of his units in the red. He's doing a good job of taking out a lot of these corruptors. But the queens ultimately are standing so strong. Actually, all of a sudden, this isn't looking that bad. I don't know how Hellraiser's done it, but he's starting to really thin out the numbers here. There's now only 7 queens left, 6, and that number falling, 5 corruptors as well. Interceptor count seeming to be rising once again. The base will go down, but the gold base is still active here for Hellraiser, and Hellraiser's going to push this back.
Man, that +2 air weapons, Roddy would be proud. Such a powerful upgrade. I gotta say, I thought Lambo was gonna break through there and just straight win the game. But that, damn, interceptors, man, they're real good. And there was no armor upgrade on Lambo's units. You can see now he's starting at that +1 ground armor, but he does so much.
Yeah, and +3 air weapons is nearly done, which means these void rays and these carriers are going to absolutely smash. Carriers benefiting so much from air weapon upgrades because they attack twice in quick succession. And the number now, he didn't lose. Did he lose any carriers? No. Not one.
+5 void rays.
It's not bad at all. The static defense really pulled through the holding of the battery overcharge and things, and now Hellraiser is already at his late game composition, and we're like 10 minutes into the game.
Yep, and he might just attack across the map with +3 air weapons done. I don't think he needs to. I think he can, but if he goes, I don't see how Lambo possibly stops him.
Yeah.
It's a 3 upgrade lead against anything he fights right now. The only thing that's even remotely close is +1 ground carapace, and it's still only about 60% of the way done. Ooh, we do see a little bit of a harassment coming in on the gold base right there.
Oh yeah, a few roaches here, the cannon in the back, in the front even, not quite in the position. But I mean, look at the harassment in the front here from Hellraiser. He's got his full army, the full might of this fleet moving forward right now. And there's not enough. These spores are going to come down, but they need to burrow one by one. This is way too much air army steadfast. Everything underneath just melting to those +3 upgrades. Look at those corruptors, they're just melting like butter on toast. And I mean, this is going to be it. Hellraiser is just absolutely stormed the main base of his opponent, and GG, Hellraiser takes map 1.
Wow. That was a very cool build out of Lambo, and it fell so hard on its face. I thought for sure that was going to work really, really well. I don't think he was expecting that 3rd Stargate and all those units to be out, because Lambo is an incredibly technical player, but he wasn't able to make it happen there. Damn.
Yeah.
I don't think he was going to... So there's a few things I don't think he was expecting. I don't think he was expecting +2 air weapons to be done. I don't think he was expecting there to be that many carriers. And I don't think he was expecting that...
I think the static defense was more... If this wasn't a Nexus first, everything would have been a bit slower. There would have been maybe no cannon or 1 or 2 less batteries. There would have been maybe the 3rd Stargate wouldn't have been done. Like, by going Nexus first here, Hellraiser put himself economically in a position where he could afford this. And this is what I was talking about before map 2. Just sort of identifying how to counter a build and then learning from it. And I mean, we've seen a lot of Void Ray, a lot of Sky Toss this event against Zerg. And I mean, if it ain't broke, is Hellraiser going to do something different? I don't know.
I mean, I certainly wouldn't. I certainly wouldn't change anything up here. This looked really, really powerful. Really powerful.
Yeah. Yep, guys, we know about the game. That's now been fixed. Don't worry about it. Okay. We're getting into our next map here. It is going to be Jagannatha, and our first player. He is unfortunately trailing in the series, representing the Shopify Rebellion in the red, the German, Lambo.
And his opponent, spawning up on the top right, representing Ukraine and Litecoin Gaming, it is Hellraiser.
It's the Bogdan. Don't say Kiev. Okay. What are we going to see here different so far? It does look like we're seeing a low ground, possibly Nexus first once again by the looks of it here. Yeah, it is going to be a Nexus first. And Lambo this time, he is, by the looks of it, going to be going for the same openings. Oh, I was wrong.
Yeah, we're going to be seeing a 16 pool here. Now, you can't necessarily punish a Nexus first with this.
No.
I think he's actually expecting a cannon rush once again, but Hellraiser... he's a little bit known for that, and he's not going for it. This is actually so good for Hellraiser, so insanely good. Now Lambo can potentially get a little bit of damage done. A little bit bold, honestly, from Hellraiser to keep that probe at the natural for as long as he did. Because if this was a 12 pull out of Lambo and he didn't see it until just now, that would be a little bit like, I think at that point you want to like cut probes. You maybe don't get your gases.
Yeah,
you want to really respond heavily.
Not two gases, Sally, right? Like, no way.
Yeah, definitely not if it was a 12 pool.
Yeah. Okay, so it does look like following on from this, the gases come down quite quickly here for Lambo. He's going to start powering that up and get speed, I'm sure, before too long. But once again, it does feel like Hellraiser has been relatively unpunished. Now, these lings are going to be annoying. These 4 lings are going to be seen now. Hellraiser knows exactly what's coming his way. He'll probably just drop a chrono into the gateway if I were to guess. That's exactly what's going to happen. And we might see a bit of a weird chase going on here because I don't think the Zealot... Oh, actually, it might pop before they get here. It'll be close here on Jagannata. But I once again, I don't dislike Hellraiser's position. I like the way, and the Zealot will complete as well. It was bloody close, but he makes it. Wall is complete. What's this doing now? Nothing, really. It's going to poke away at a gateway. It's never going to get the kill.
It kind of turns into like a pseudo 12 pool because it's not quite as big of an economic commitment. Ooh, look at that nice little pylon wall.
Yeah.
There's only the 3 Zerglings, so that's not enough to take out that gateway.
Yeah, and the Zealot wins as well. If there were to be a fight, you're going to see the cancel here. 25 minerals to get a Nexus first up and running, and Chronos dropped into it. Stargate coming down here before Warp Gate, the earliest possible Stargate you can get at home once again. I think this is the earliest Stargate you can get. It's very well timed, and I'm a little bit scared. Lambo's going to have to identify how to beat what he just played against, because I don't see any reason for Hellraiser to do something different right now. He may choose to just go for like an Oracle into Phoenixes, or just a couple of Void Rays into, you know, ground-based forces. But game 1 wasn't, I'm really sorry to say, it wasn't that close. It was Hellraiser had complete control almost from the beginning to end. We thought for a minute there might be a breakthrough, but when I think back on it, I mean, there wasn't a single carrier kill, so I think it was more us reading it wrong than it being as close as it was. I don't know, man. I'm scared for Lambo.
I'm a little bit scared for him too. I think some of his timings are a little bit thrown off. You mentioned it earlier. I think they're a little bit thrown off by the Nexus first in game 1, and we're seeing another very quick +1 air weapons, no warp gate. It's looking very similar. Yeah, second Stargate comes down.
Fleet Beacon soon.
Yeah, I think. Well, actually, he did go Fleet Beacon before second Stargate in the first game.
Did he? I thought he went hit before third. I could be wrong. I don't know. Brains. So second Stargate down, +1 on the way. Void Rays here. It could just be like mass Void Rays with a later Flux Vein, something along those lines. Again, there is no Warp Gate. Hasn't been researched, hasn't been started, probably won't ever, or at least for a very long time. And we see now that the gas is getting up there. We should see that Fleet Beacon, I imagine, go down any time now, if it's going to go down. If it's going to go down. Why you got to do me like this? It's just a bunch of Void Rays.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty good. It's Void Ray Printer go burr.
Yeah, Rich Warren here for Lambo.
The one thing that does surprise me a little bit from Hellraiser is that he's taken the pocket third, which actually expands towards his opponent. And Lambo, you can see that he took the pocket third as well. So they're actually about as close as they possibly can be. And while that Queen Walk didn't work in the first game, this is a different situation, and there's still a very real possibility that Lambo could make a Queen Walk work against the third base on this map.
Forge coming in now. Static defense going to be coming. I mean, I don't expect to see any ground upgrades as there isn't even Warp Gate yet. Gonna see shield battery be added here. We do have a few lings moving out. Once again, this is a little bit different to last game, which is exciting because we do not have that fleet beacon. It's just gonna be mass +1 void rays, probably +2 starting up quite quickly. Maybe moving in to carry some things a little bit later here. It's kind of crazy. Hellraiser seems to have a few different Skytoss styles in mind here. These are some quick void rays even without that upgrade. 6 of them with +1 now. That's scary. Like there's 9 queens, which isn't bad. 3 more on the way. But if they get caught out, then this could be scary. This is enough to snipe a base in like 4 seconds as well.
Oh, it's so fast. It's so quick. How many spores do we have in the main base from Lambo?
Let's take a look.
Do we have...
okay, we've none.
Got 1 repositioning right now. There are a lot of
There's only
queens,
2 spores in general. Like,
but they're very well placed.
Yeah.
This spore does not last long against that prismatic alignment, and the queens, they are going to get picked away at. Nice micro from Hellraiser, pulling back that one.
So much
voicing, and goddamn, the +1 air weapons is so powerful. How many queens just went down?
Just 2, I believe.
Just the 1.
Just the 1, okay. Yeah, no massive trade-offs for Hellraiser. He has lost a lot of actual hit points instead of just shields here on his void rays, but now the fleet beacon is done, and he's buying himself a lot of time. We can see Lambo's 4th base is going down, and it's at an okay time. Infestation pit very, very quickly too, so he can move up and probably get a couple of Vipers or Infestors himself. As well as look towards Hive, but I feel like Hellraiser's doing a pretty good job of buying himself space to get his carrier count up, and once you hit 5 or 6 carriers, it does become very, very difficult. His probe count is good, close to 70. Of course, Lambo up at 85 drones is a lot better than he managed in game 1. This one feels like it might go just a bit longer, Steadfast.
I think it just might. This, the thing is, though, like, we do have much quicker armor upgrades for Lambo and a much slower +2 air weapons, which is that big switch up. And okay, we're also seeing, the pathogen glands coming on down. So this can be the microbial shroud. We can see fungal growth to try and lock down those void rays. A lot of options here from Lambo. It's not going to be that crazy all in. We're also seeing a +1 melee coming down. So this might be Lingbane Ultra Queen Infestor.
Just every unit.
Yeah, right. Just the whole Zerg kitchen sink. Of course, you dominate everything on the ground with the Lingbane Ultra, and then that allows your queens and infestors to be unhindered, and they, with their microbial shroud and that big reduction of damage, basically cutting the damage in half of air to ground. It just sets up really nicely. Wow, 9 infestors. That is a lot of infestors.
Yeah, and it's a very scary army to control, because if Lambo makes a mistake and loses those infestors to these very quick void rays with flux veins, then things immediately go wrong. Like, that is the core of his army. That is the crux of his army. He needs it to work out. Static defense over on the 3rd, very good here. But the 4th and the 5th base trying to be taken at about the same time. A bunch of lings do get caught. It does look like... I'd like to see maybe just a couple of void rays split off separately here to defend this base, or bring the carriers down. Right now, I think the carriers are sitting in the main as a surprise, but I imagine Lambo's figured out carriers are coming. Like, he's not seen that many more void rays. The counter stayed relatively similar. He's not seen anything else. It can only really be these tier 3 Protoss air units. It's a very scary Protoss army though, right?
Oh, it's an incredibly scary Protoss army without excellent spellcaster control, which we are seeing Vipers added in, and a full complement of upgrades. We're actually seeing triple Evo out of Lambo, which is going to be really, really cool. Honestly, not too sure what the +1 missile is for, but in case he wants to go Hydras, in case he wants to go Roaches, they just hit with a little bit more oomph.
Yeah, so much of the map anyway. Like, he can afford it.
Yeah, he's got 98 drones, which is an insane count. And that's a really, really great setup for this situation, because it allows you to get into a massive bank, a huge upgrade complement, and then you can, throw down 30 spores all at once and get onto a bit of a more normal army size, that 130, 140 army supply. That always makes me so nervous, looking at those Vipers sucking down a hatch. You know that, like, Lambo's not going to do it, but you're like, well, I've done it before, and I don't want to do that.
Wow, you can see here, Hellraiser's killing some of his own units to free up supply, it looks like. Feeling like he has... Did he just want to go down to a nice number of drones or probes? Phoenix is coming in as well. They'll be able to lift those infestors as well as chase down those Vipers with ease. If they're microed correctly, of course, they can just sort of scout around the scary army and pick things off as sort of harassment units. We're seeing a bunch of carriers, plus 3 air weapons is already 2/3 of the way done. No armor upgrades, no shield upgrades coming in, as we are just sitting on the one cyber core. Hellraiser is spending his money so well, but you can see he's not mining much. Like, Lambo really does have the better economy. He has got 2/3 of the map. He has taken 2/3 of Jagannata. Hellraiser is not going to be banking at all this game. He is getting the maximum he can with his army, and I feel like he's just going to have to go and win with this army, because when you're down to just 65 probes against, you know, a Zerg player who has this much, it's a little scary.
Yeah, and we're seeing something very interesting coming down here out of Hellraiser. He's adding on Phoenixes, a lot of Phoenixes. I feel like he wants to kind of swoop in and lift up those infestors so that they can't cast fungal growth. If he's going for Neural, he can't get Neural. We don't see Neural, but it might be... I'm trying to just kind of think of what Hellraiser might want these for, because there's no way he's expecting Lambo to go mutas right now. There's absolutely no way.
Lifting out of Microbial Shroud is nice against the Queens and the...
yeah, that's true.
The things like that. I mean, the Spore count is ridiculous right now. As the fight now beginning in, we do see that Microbial Shroud going in. And yeah, the Phoenix is going to lift him out of the Microbial Shroud, but so many Vipers have already gone down here. We can see the Queen's starting to fall. Another big Microbial Shroud. Fungal growth going down onto all of these Phoenixes. They will fall out, but you can just lift up. That goo is only on the ground. The carriers in the back are completely untouched.
That being said, the parasitic bombs were absolutely monstrous, and a nice fungal growth to chain these down. And I think we might see the Corruptors able to chase down this army. They are, it's going to force a recall, and going to get at least 2 or 3 carriers on the way out. And you mentioned it earlier, Hellraiser, he was only on 66 probes. He could have been on like 80, 85 probes. And that was kind of a pseudo all-in push. Now, it's not like he's dead now, but Lambo survived that, and he survived that in magnificent fashion. He actually, I think he's traded more efficiently than his opponent. And that was a fantastic setup from Lambo. Very well done on the defense.
Yeah, I did like the idea, but Lambo had a lot of spores, and the carriers spent most of their time actually dealing with the spores. They lost a lot of interceptors very, very fast to fungals and to things like that, as well as the parasitic bomb, as you said. And now the army of Lambo is, because he was sitting at 90-odd drones for so long, he's able to remax a lot quicker. Hellraiser still has a very strong maxed army. He's made so many Phoenixes, up at 14 now. Baneling's going to roll in here. I don't think this is going to be... They're not going to be able to get the base or anything here, but taking down some of that static defense leaves it vulnerable now. And it's going to be very, very scary and difficult for Hellraiser to expand now. He's not going to be able to take a base. The only real hope he has is this top left base, and you can see he's trying, but there's a burrowed Ling there. And a few Lings going to come as well, just to clean up the probe, probably take down the pylon. And it's not good. It's very scary for Hellraiser, whose economy is going to start drying out very soon. I mean, a few Lings being traded here to delay the base so massively. There's still a burrowed Ling there.
That is so nice, actually, from Lambo. Getting a ton of value with that. We do see the Observer on the way now. But Lambo, look at this. He's got 5 upgrades going at once. He's about to have 3/3/3 on the ground. +2 air and +3 flyer carapace. Meanwhile, what do we have from Hellraiser? Well, we've got +3 air weapons, which is great. But no warp gate, no shields, no air armor. This is looking pretty good. And I think as long as Lambo can hold this attack again, similarly to the way he did in the previous game, this is going to look really good for him.
Acceleration Zone Generator going to be playing a lot of dividends here for Lambo. He's able to reposition those spores very quickly, and they're traditionally quite slow units. He's currently sitting at 30 Spore Crawlers Steadfast. That was bloody hard to say. And that's a lot. That really is a lot here. Of course, the Phoenixes can't do anything about them. The Void Rays, they don't really die that quick, Spores. They're deceptively tanky. And every unit that is picked off here for free or just for some energy, okay, getting a Viper in return is nice. it's much easier. Looking at the banks, it will be easier long term for Lambo to remax. Hellraiser still does have money because he's actually been able to keep his army close to max for a long time, but he is running out. Like, his economy is on a timer, and we can see our Protoss player, he's looking now to find something. He needs to kill some bases. He needs to take a good fight. That's a big fungal.
That it is, and we got the Phoenixes coming in. Big lifts on the Infestors, but we do see a Parasitic Bomb coming on in here. A pseudo, not really loco maneuver, but the Interceptors, I think they might be getting hit by another Parasitic Bomb. Now, is there enough on the ground to hold on Lambo? He is holding strong, and actually, yeah, he's going to crush this fight once again, and that's GG. Lambo. It's so funny that the carriers don't go down, but Lambo, with the massive hold, and all the interceptors were gone, there was no Void Rays, it was just Phoenixes and empty carriers on top of a ton of Corruptors. You might say to yourself, well, the supplies are so even, he had like 10 carriers left. It's like, yeah, well, if you stayed in that game for another 5-10 seconds, all of a sudden, 70 supply is gone.
Yeah, there were next to no interceptors left. There was still plenty of energy left on the ground in the interceptors. The Vipers, I believe, were on their way back in. And as we said over and over and over, Lambo had like 9 bases by the end. He could have reproduced so quickly, whereas to reproduce that many carriers once they went down, it's minutes worth of work. So Lambo adjusting. Hellraiser in game 1, dealing with that suspected Queen Walk, and he tries to do the same thing in game 2, and Lambo says, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you, and he kicks him in the teeth. So a great, I'd go as far as to say, win there from Lambo. I think how hard it is to adapt to something new, something that you haven't seen. And he did it really, really well. I loved the way he played with all of the upgrades, playing that huge amounts of Infestors. It was an unusual game, but I liked it.
Yeah, I want to point out the patience of Lambo there. It is so easy. And I know this because I do it myself all the time, to think, oh, they've rushed carriers, they've rushed Void Rays, they don't have a ground army. I'm going to run in and I'm going to kill you. And Lambo says, no, that's not how you play this matchup in this scenario. Your opponent just gave you 6 minutes to do whatever you want. I'm going to take that 6 minutes and I'm going to make 100 drones. I'm going to get every upgrade in the game. I'm going to get Vipers. I'm going to get Infestors with Pathogen Glands. I'm going to get like 25 to 30 Spores. I'm going to get 15 Queens. And I'm going to get myself a free win. And I'm like, haha, yeah, me too.
Okay. One thing we need to talk about before we get into the next game. A lot of people going, where's the mainstream? And having a tantrum. Right now, the studio in Sweden where the mainstream is produced has no power. There's massive thunderstorms. I'm not sure if that's what's caused it. So they are trying to find a solution. But for now, we're the mainstream. Unlucky. Let's get into the game. In the bottom left, here's the blue Protoss player from Ukraine, representing Team Litecoin. It is Hellraiser.
And his opponent, the German player from Shopify Rebellion, bringing it back with some fantastic decision-making and spellcasting. It is Lambo. Will he go Rambo? He certainly did last game.
He really played intelligently. And we see again the early pool coming in. Just a 16 pool to deal with any possibilities of a cannon rush, of which we know Hellraiser is capable. No Nexus first this time, Steadfast. It is going to be a gateway down here on the low ground. So a more standard, I guess, for 2020 and early 2021 opening. With most likely Gate Nexus. Is it really going to be Gate Core? That would be, I guess if he's worried about an early pool, which this is kind of ish. Going Gate Core is safe, but Nexus is going to be a heck of a lot later than we've been seeing it. Yeah,
it's like we haven't actually seen technically a standard build from Hellraiser yet. Like, we haven't seen a Gate Nexus
cool. Yeah.
And to be fair, I mean, like, the first 2 games, yeah, they were blind Nexi first, and you know that is what it is. But this one is a reactionary one. It's the right call. You can chrono boost out your first Adept and get it out in time for those first couple of Lings.
Yeah.
Actually, no, it might still get in.
Only 2 Lings have been made though, so it's not really an issue. If there were 4 or 6 Lings, we'd be thinking a bit differently, but Lambo just making scouting Lings instead of pressure Lings. They're not going to get in because they are going to chase this probe instead, or one's going to chase the probe. One might get in. He's actually looking for proxies, I think. Instead, to make sure everything is gravy there, Adept will finish, and things going to be looking pretty good. Very, very normal opening. Now, that being said, there is going to be this Adept Stalker very quickly, much, much quicker than in any of our earlier games, and because of that, we'll probably have to see a couple of... ooh, hello. A couple of extra lings being made here, but I think this could be... Is this a Dark Templar build? It is, right? It must be.
It could be Resonating Glaives.
Yeah.
I hope it's Resonating Glaives, because it would be cool to see Hellraiser go from, you know, a very sharp, I would say kind of, it's so weird to call it this, but kind of an all-in-ish build that he did in Game 2 with, like, just this pure Sky Toss style, and then go into one of the most standard hyper-aggressive moves with, like, a 4-gate Glaved Adepts push. But this is actually looking like it is going to be 3-gate Glaives, no Robo, potentially into, like, triple Stargate. This is something that was popular in the meta for, like, 2 weeks, and it was so strong, and I don't know why people stopped doing it, but I don't know. We'll have to see. Very quick Roach warning coming down, by the way, from Lambo. I think he has the read on what his opponent's going for, at least in the sense that he thinks this is a Twilight build.
Yeah. I definitely get that vibe as well. So as you said, there is no Robo, so this Glaive Adept push is by no means meant to do massive game-ending damage. It's just to keep Lambo back. We're going to see most likely 8 maybe Adepts head across the map and start being very, very frustrating and annoying, but there's no proxy, there's no way for them to get across and be walked in very quickly. Now, double gas has been taken here on the natural. Lambo getting a great read of everything going on. Here come those first few Adepts, but with a few Roaches out, and there are none out just yet, actually. The Roach Warren did complete. Just a bunch of Lings being made. This shouldn't be too difficult. This is a lot of Adepts, actually, now. What are we looking at? I can't count. Was that 8? Ah, close enough. 1, 2, 3, yeah, 8. Cool, I got the number right. And you were right.
Yes, I have been void rated enough. Void rated. I know the signs. It's imprinted on my soul at this point. And the beauty of this is you force out such a big reaction, because it's difficult often to tell the difference between this being a 4-gate Glaive Adepts build with a robotics facility versus just an Adept pressure with no Robo, and therefore a much lower commitment to gas. Like, this is difficult to deal with, and Lambo, he's a smart cookie. He's gonna know that Void Rays are on the table. And the thing is, in theory, I feel like if anyone has a queen walk time against this, it's Lambo. But I don't know. If you're in his shoes, what do you think? What are you thinking about doing right here?
It's difficult. He's only at 6 queens, so if he was up at 8 or 9 already, or if he'd continued producing queens, I wouldn't dislike a queen walk. We've also seen the creep spread is underwhelming, I guess, to say the least. Lair is only about 3/4 of the way done. I kind of feel like he just has to take a 4th base, sit back, and maybe go into Infestors again. It worked last time. Get triple upgrades maybe. Move this more into how it was later last game, because these Adepts are only, like, losing value at this point. They haven't done anything. Nothing has died. 8 Lings have died. Nothing has died for Hellraiser, as we said, but he's put so much money into tech right now that his pro count isn't amazing. Lambo's he's gonna explode very, very soon, I imagine. But this 4th base for me is very, very, like, he needs it, like, really needs it, like, now, because he's even on bases against a lot of Void Rays being produced here. And if he doesn't start to take a bit of an economic and an upgrade lead, I'd be a little bit scared.
Yeah, and he does have the Overlord. Sorry, he's got an Overseer scouting into the main base, so he is going to find out now. Oh, he saw the Void Ray, but I don't think he saw the extra Stargates. There is a 3rd one coming down now, and I mean, honestly, this should be. He should be able to figure this out. He's, like I said, he's a very intelligent player.
Knows.
I consider Lambo to be either the smartest or second smartest Zerg player in the world. It's between him and Rogue, in my opinion, in terms of just how well they prep. Yeah. And just how they approach the game in general. So he's going to have an idea, I think.
Yeah, I
Ooh,
think the
sneak peeking.
infestation pit now, a whole bunch of drones right now, He's going up into the 80s. Like he just snapped and went from 50 to 80, like straight away, and mid 80s as well. So Lambo doing kind of what I wanted him to do, which was get that 4th and probably a 5th very soon and just power up. Because there is now an awkward timing where he's going to have to defend against a good amount of void rays with no flux veins yet. As this fleet beacon's not done. The good news is air weapons were a lot later than we've been seeing. By this point in game 1 and 2, Hellraiser was at like +2 air weapons. So
he was finishing it up in game 1 at this point.
Yeah.
That was just absolutely bonkers. We do have a lot of gas in the bank right now for Lambo. And
is he gonna get muta?
No. Okay, there's the pathogen glands, but he's gonna be wow. He's getting a spire and a hive. Is he gonna do like an infestor broodlord push?
2012 called. It wants his builds back.
Yeah.
It's certainly feeling that way. It is just the one spire for now. We're not seeing a second one for quick upgrades. I don't think mutas are on the cards this late in the game. That would be unusual, definitely, but I could be wrong. I've been wrong before, I'll be wrong again. We're actually seeing a lot of ground units being bought in here as the adepts. I said they'd lost value, well, they just found a hell of a lot as they did kill 10 workers, and a few of the void rays getting picked off a little bit here, but they're going to be okay. These adepts are finding a lot of damage right now, Steadfast.
Yeah, this is looking kind of rough right here. 17 drones, and the damage is really piling on. The drone count is just plummeting at this point. Now, it's not setting Lambo back into the Stone Age. It's not putting him down to, you know, like 35 drones. Yeah. But that still slows down if he did want to go for an aggressive timing. It just got slowed down so much.
And that's what our Protoss player wants, right? He's making carriers again. He wants time. So he can maybe move into Storm or Archons underneath his carriers, get a -400, -400 if he feels like it. You can see how many drones, how much lava is being forced to be thrown back into drones here. So Lambo can get back up to 90. Hellraiser picked his moment, and I said that the Adepts had done nothing early, but now these Void Rays with +1 are going to be able to take out this base in 6-7 seconds. Oh, he gets an Infestor for his troubles. I think he should just target the base and recall. Okay, that's so fast, he doesn't need to recall.
God, that Lambo's going to be kicking himself there. Where were the other Infestors? There was a third. Oh, I think he could have chained that down pretty effectively.
Me too. I guess he was scared about the reinforcements coming in. He doesn't know what else is behind this. He's only seen the Adepts and 9 Void Rays. Ultralisk Cavern is just completed, so it is that build that you kind of anticipated in game 2. Now, the wall at the front here is going to be picked apart. +2 air weapons here is going to go down by the looks of it. A lot of carriers coming in, but that is a denial here from Lambo. A big pickup. Been able to slow this push down. Now, he's going to lose a few units for it, but he splits up here to search for clues and will be able to get out with most of his units intact. And these aren't expensive units. As I said, that -400, -400 on the way. Hellraiser is picking off a few of these Roaches and Ravagers, but Lambo can afford to lose these. Getting that denial of the only Cyber Core here is a really big pickup.
Yeah, he's rebuilding 2 Cyber Cores at a time. Getting that +2 air weapons when it's like 60% done with just ground units, not having to sack Corruptors for that, not having to sack like a huge amount of army, just some Roaches, a couple Lings, maybe a Ravager. So massive for Lambo.
Yeah.
And we talked about timings earlier. With the carriers and with those +2, +3 upgrades, the timing for Lambo got knocked around with the death of all those drones. The timing for Hellraiser just got completely... It got set back like 2 minutes.
At least.
2 minutes plus.
Yeah. Yeah, we can see now he is getting... right now, +3 should be, what, a third, maybe even closer to half of the way done. And he'd be looking to move out with this army, with the mothership, which is going to be completing. It would have been completing not far off +3 by the time it had got there. And now he's going to have to go for a +2, +1 timing attack. A lot of ground research coming in as well here for a big tech switch later, possibly. I'm not really sure what the plan is, because we haven't seen Storm research. It can only be Archons. We've got 1 on the field now. But a big attack coming in from Lambo right now. Zealots being walked in, and they're going to do an okay job, because they do have a couple of upgrades to their name. But this base is definitely under duress here. Another walk in the Zealots is going to save it.
Yeah, but even without that, the Flux Vein Void Rays, they'll get back there pretty darn quickly. There is the +1 Carapace, but no melee attack upgrade, so they don't really tear everything through everything very quickly. We are going to see a little bit more of what I was expecting in the previous game, though, which is the Ultralisks. Ultralisks coming on in. As you just pointed out, we've got that Greater Spire coming on in here. Hellraiser, he is moving forward with this Mama Core. Well, sorry, Mama Ship.
I wish
Mama
it was
Core
a
doesn't
core.
exist no more. Oh, the Mama Core. What a unit that was. That was so powerful.
Oh, that overcharge on pylons. It just... Oh, it still keeps me warm at night. Lots of static defense starting to come in here from Hellraiser. He knows he needs to get up to 5 bases. That's really where this late game Protoss at 5 and 6 has to be minimum in order to start trading out against a Zerg player who will have those bases. We can see a few Zealots fighting an Ultralisk. Oh, they win.
Gonna kill it?
I didn't think they would. A run-by coming down, that's going to fail. I mean, what's the Ultralisk's upgrades? I didn't really have any, that's why. The army for Hellraiser is scary, though, man. I'm a little concerned for Lambo. Like, 11 Infestors, only 2 Vipers. I'd like to see a few more of them, maybe. A lot of Broodlords coming in, but the Grand Army isn't there yet. There's actually... Hellraiser is fully stuck to the air. He didn't transition into ground, and that means with these Flux-Flame Void Raids, he's going to have a much more maneuverable army. This hive is gone.
Oh, that's a big loss right there. We see Lambo already restarting the layer, but no more Vipers for the next little while. Yoink! Minus 400, 400, another one. Oh, and he will pull it back into the Infestors. Are there any Corruptors here? No, it's just Queens.
Nice.
Queens taking that
down.
out. Oh, growth coming on in. Is there a Parasitic Bomb to chain it?
Yes.
Yes, there is, but the recall will come in. Oh, nope, shield batteries.
I'd like to see Overcharge come in here. Just get everything healed up. I know you'd rather have it
honestly,
defensively.
It's only a 40-second cooldown to do it.
Yeah. You can see here, this is a weird force to prevent an expansion, but I'm all for it. Get me some Psi units out on the map. 28 drones just went down here. Hellraiser lost what? What's the command for? Oh, I did it. He lost the mothership and 7 zealots to kill 28 drones and 4 infestors. That's not a trade he'll be angry at. Hellraiser's going to be licking his lips right now. He'll be feeling great killing infestors for a few zealots. I mean, wow, he'll be as happy as can be. Finally, the Void Ray, this Archon and the Sentry are going to be chased away. It's actually going to get out. This Sentry is like the hero of all units.
Oh, man. I'm just thinking of, like, the adventures of Sentry and Archon. Like,
dude, we've got a sitcom in the making. Don't talk about it. Yeah. Someone's going to steal our IP.
Patent pending.
My concern, Lambo doesn't have creep, really. Like, it's okay, but it's not anywhere it wants it to be. He doesn't have this base down here at like 3 o'clock. He doesn't have the base up here at 11. So economically, he's not really ahead. You can actually see Hellraiser's mining more minerals and gas thanks to our magical blue arrows here. And these Ultras are going to try and run in, but static defense plus like a couple of defensive already possibly looking at O2 is scary. Hellraiser, I really like what he's doing here. He knows he has money, look at his bank, so he's preparing for every eventuality, for a big, big transition into Disruptor, Archon, Immortal possibly if he needs to, which is so, so good against what we're seeing now. Time Warp's going to come down. That's going to stop these Infestors from getting too close. The Broodlords as well, going to be picked down as they're very, very slow here. We see a lot of Microbial Shroud though.
Yeah, Microbial Shroud being very helpful. Ooh, big Neuroparasites coming on in. And you can't really target fire the Infestors underneath. Half the army belongs to Lambo now. Oh my god, Microbial Shroud plus the... wow, and he can't recall. He can't really recall because the units aren't his. That was such a good fight for Lambo.
That was
and now he's going to clean
insane.
up the remaining of these units.
That was literally perfect. Now we have a Stalker force actually up here at the top left. They're going to be able to take down a base. But we can see now Lambo is the one with more money. He's got the larger bank. And that's going to work out really well for him. Upgrades across the board. Both players have so much. These Stalkers are finding a lot. If they get this base too, that could be really nice. Really cute burrow here, though, in order to save a bunch of the drones. A few Overseers going to go down. These Stalkers have done what they needed to do at this point. They're probably going to die, unfortunately. But they found some sort of a counter push when it was so needed. And now we can see 4 carriers, 13 Zealots being produced at a time. It looks like Hellraiser's going to start moving to just massive, massive run-bys and counterattacks. And all of a sudden, Hellraiser's playing like a Zerg and Lambo's playing like a Protoss.
Yeah, the problem is he's going to get these Stalkers kind of pinched off. Will be able to blink on out. Oh, are there infestors here to get some fungal growths? There are some infestors on the right side, and we will see... Oh, nice target fire from Hellraiser, grabbing 3 of the infestors, 4 of them. He will lose all the stalkers, but traded out about as well as he could have right there. A little bit sloppy from Lambo, but we do have another run by on the right side. That looks like a lot of charge lots. That's so many queens, though.
I'm not sure what's going on right now. The stream may have gone down. I'm looking at my... It's showing it's up. Okay, I'm not sure what happened. I didn't drop a single frame and the stream stayed online for me, but it looks like it's back. I apologize, guys. That was very, very weird. Yeah, my bitrate stayed at 7K. I didn't drop a single frame, but the stream was offline. Interesting. That might be production's end, actually. Ooh. Nice pick up on those Broodlords.
Yeah, that was massive. And Hellraiser, he is going to get fungal growth here. These are adrenal glands lings with +2 melee. And even with the great positioning from Hellraiser, he's going to get chewed on up. Now, that being said, that's a really good positioning.
Really good trade.
So many angry Zerglings.
Yeah, I still think in terms of Hellraiser, he will be relatively happy with that. We're getting to a split map situation now. Taking a look at the army comps, there are 7 carriers back on the field. There's another -400, 400, and there's very little left to deal with these carriers. Like 9 corruptors, only 2 infestors, and 3 vipers left up. That is not enough. 7 more infestors on the way. That's a lot of gas that Lambo's had to spend. Hellraiser's bank has also been drained, and we've kind of just nuked ourselves back to 5 minutes ago. I'm sorry about the stream, guys. I really don't know what happened. It wasn't on my end, I can tell you that. So, yeah, let someone else, please. Hellraiser moving out once again. He's done a great job of pushing creep back consistently throughout this series. Very, very impressive here. It's been a great game. A great series, I think we could say, Steadfast.
Yeah, this has been a slugfest. And I want to point out, resources lost up until the last couple of minutes was like 7,000 in favor of Hellraiser. Now, just over 1,000. Lambo has fought so well, and Hellraiser really went all in. I wanted to talk about this. He went up to 18 gateways while he was still on that carrier army, and we saw him really try and bust through Lambo with the big switch into mass gateway unit and ground, but he wasn't able to do it, and he threw away all of his lead trying to do so. Ooh, recall. Where did that recall just go to? Left side base? Okay.
I'm not really sure, because these ultras are now going to hit this base, and it does feel like Hellraiser's a little out of position. He is going to lose a base. He does manage to take down a building base, but honestly, this was better for Lambo, as Lambo took down an active base and lost one that was nowhere near active. If Hellraiser is able to strike forward and get a couple more bases, even getting a nice little corruptor pick up there, a little freebie for the boys, that's going to be pretty nice. Now we're going to see this base, again, not an active base particularly, go down, but look at the heart of where Lambo is striking. He is right into the thick of it. This is where so many of the production facilities are, and I think recall is on cooldown.
Yeah, he used his recall to reposition on the map. Ooh. Meanwhile, big fight. The Microbial Shroud going to come in on the Queens as well. Parasitic Bomb on the Protoss Force. Split. Another set of big Neurals underneath that Microbial Shroud. It's so hard to target fire them down. And there's so many units on top. You can't just click the Corruptors or click the Infestors.
This is... What is going on? Hellraiser loses a lot, definitely. Microbial Shroud is super good, that's what I'm starting to learn here. The Corruptor count is still decent, it's not too high, but the Queens are now out of range. We are seeing carriers begin to fall. This base down here and a lot of the production facilities did go down. Ultralisk will eventually get cleaned up here by some Stalkers of all things. But I think Hellraiser is about to lose too many important units, because he can't recall.
No, he can't. He used that recall as an aggressive option to reposition his whole army to the left side of the map. But he does have a very large bank. That is important to know. And he's got 7 Stargates. 14 High Templar just got more fin.
Oh my gosh.
And that is going to be so many Archons. That's 7 Archons that should be coming on in. It looks like 2 of them can't.
They can't meet.
They're stuck on a subway right there. Oh, and one of the Archons is stuck behind the pylon. He needs to kill that pylon off. Get out. Yeah, there it is.
There we go. You did it, friend.
Can you imagine if there had been 4 or 5 Archons underneath that army?
That's exactly what I was thinking. Like, Archons, I think, have come in too late to this game. The bank was there. Getting rid of a couple of Void Rays for a few Archons would have been really big. For one, they deal with things they deal with things in the air very, very well. The corruptors would have melted much quicker, allowing the carriers to have more space to do their thing. We're seeing a lot of zealots being warped in, which are, you know, we've got pretty much a full switch to the ground now. A pretty committed switch to the ground with more robos coming in. I think at this point, Hellraiser probably needs to start producing disruptors or something. I'm not sure, or just a bunch more High Templars. We're going to see a few drones going down to the Zealot run by here. They're going to be able to win this fight on the ground with ease, in fact. There's not very much to deal with them. We can see the Spores. What are you guys doing? They're just chilling. They're just hanging out, yeah. They're on break.
Eating some creep, you know?
Yeah, these queens. That's a lot of queens. How many are we looking at? 13. Unlucky number. 10 drones going down here is nice for Hellraiser. Again, we can't talk enough about the bank.
Look at the first step on the Zealot.
That's so cute.
Just hold position, moving them away.
I'm very worried right now for Lambo. He doesn't have a bank. He has no drones, so he's never going to get a bank. He's every unit he can make, he is squeezing out, trying to get a few more infestors. But Hellraiser is still maxed. He still has 83 probes and is mining like really well down here in the bottom and in the not in the top at all. Okay, he's only really mining. Okay, he's got a couple of bases mining well still. He's clearing all of the creep back, so things like surrounds are unlikely to come in. He's adding on a bunch of static defense, maybe just to try and very, very slowly push his opponent out of the game with a resource advantage that he has built up. These Zealots are just causing havoc. Like, they've killed so many workers. In terms of workers that have died this game, we're looking at how many? 76, 79 to 0.
So there's something very concerning happening right now for Lambo. Is you mentioned it already. His bank is nothing. He has an incredibly powerful army, but Hellraiser has a massive economy, and he is really starting to just kind of drown his opponent. Now, if Lambo can manage to secure the 2 bases on his side of the map that he hasn't been able to yet, he has this game. Actually, sorry, I guess 3 bases really, although one of them is that like forward half base with a rich Vespine geyser. But if he can manage to secure all the bases on his side of the map, he's got this game. Well, most likely.
And my other concern is lava, because almost all of these bases are going down. The queens, of course, are the fighting force right now, so I don't think there's a lot of transfuse energy being spent. If we were to look, there's like none, so lava is starting to really run out. There's still 13, but the more of these bases that go down, the more difficult it's going to be for Lambo to reproduce in the way the Zergs are known to do. 7 more gates! There's going to be 21 gateways up!
That's a ridiculous number.
These Zealots are ridiculous. Talking of that.
Transfuse.
Oh, he's
got a lot of transfuses.
They're actually going to get it. Are they? What a save.
Oh man, that's +3 Zealots hit like a damn truck. Oh my god, please transfuse. Transfuse! Oh! Oh, he's gonna...
Yes! That's more production gone. Meanwhile, a big push coming in. Sorry to interrupt, Steadfast. That's a very, very big fungal growth coming in. We can see as well that the air units are starting to fall down here. But again, just look at the banks. Right now, Lambo has 32 minerals and 9 gas. Hellraiser has 4,500 minerals and 3,200 gas. That's a lot. I'm feeling a disparity. Look at the army on either side. If he can pick off these queens, he's going to get the Broodlords.
Oh, that's huge. He's going to go after the Ultralisk as well. Gets the 3rd Broodlord. This is looking... Might just starve. Might just starve straight up. Oh, but the transfuse is on that Ultra, keeping it alive for a long time. He burrows it, but I think it didn't go through all the way.
I think it died. Yeah, I think it died mid-burrow. And now, look at the wall that has been created by the Stalkers. He's actually using them like force fields with Zealots coming in. We don't have any detection here, unfortunately, meaning that these queens will be able to survive. And they're very important. Every unit right now is important. Hellraiser is moving forward with one force up here at the 1 o'clock point and another down here, up here at 11 o'clock. If he gets another base, this is going to go from bad to worse here for Lambo. It does fall down. The drone's going to be forced to retreat. What bases are left? He's getting to like 1. Has he only got 1 hatchery? 2, 3. I can't count.
But he's about to lose one of them. The one in the main base is probably going to go down.
Yeah.
This is potentially just over.
Yeah.
Lambo, he can't compete with this, and now Hellraiser has taken his right side base. He has taken the contested base. Lambo is mining 0. He has no mining whatsoever, and he's going to lose all his overlords in the main base. Oh, that's actually going to supply block him.
Yeah, so
Not
Lambo...
anything, anyways.
He's not going to be able to make anything else. The good news for Lambo is that his army supply is healthy. I think it's fair to say. He still has 9 Broodlords, 9 Corruptors, 10 Infestors. If he can catch this army and pick it off for free, and he's looking like he will, Fungal! Cute recall.
The Neurals come in just after the recall was cast, which means the recall does go through, and